So in this video we're going to be doing flat tire repair. So more specifically, what we're going to be doing is patching the tire. There are some things called tire plugs, where if you actually have a hole in the side of the tire, you take this little corkscrew looking deal and you shove this gooey worm looking thing straight in there. The only problem with those is that they never work. So those tire plugs, say for something like this in the sidewall, that might be good to some people. It's a quicker, easier process, but what we're going to be doing is doing a patch because those hold up, and I know for a fact they do work and work better. So now let's go over our list of tools that we'll be needing. Here we have a tire patch kit. Now these are pretty cool because they kind of come with everything, even if you're preferable to these little plugs, which I think they're crap. They've got rubber cement in them. They got this little cheese grater looking deal to help rough up the inside of the tire so that you can use these rubber patches. Now I'm preferable to the patches myself because they give you a much bigger space to keep the air inside the tire, whereas these little plugs, all you do is you just shove those back into the hole, and then the air is able to force its way back out. So those are pretty much crap. So if you got like a tiny little hole on your tire and you put this big patch on there, air's not going to be able to get around that big old patch to find its way out of the tire. So in my professional opinion, not my personal opinion, patches are better than plugs. So that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do. So you'll notice that your tire patch kit does come with some rubber cement. You can either choose to use whatever it is that comes with the kit, or my personal preference is to use goop. It doesn't matter. I use plumbing because it's water resistant. 3.7 ounces. The only problem with this stuff is that it does cost about $6 or more for this size, but it's always been worth it to me. That stuff rarely ever fails. I don't have very much experience or luck with rubber cement, but it all depends on what you want to use, whatever you're preferable to, whatever you have found over the years works best. So now we turn our attention to the valve stem remover tool. This removes the core out of the valve stem. I'll show you how to use that a little bit later. So now we turn our attention to our spray bottle filled with water and liquid dish soap, and I'll show you later how this is going to come in handy. Now here are our specialty tools. This is a tire spoon. You can see that it's got a curve at the end of it. There are two different types. You have the curved kind, and then you have just a standard flat kind of like this. Then you have our bead breaker slide hammer. Now you can get both of these tools on Amazon. I think this is like 100 and something. I think this is like 30 something. Now if you don't have access to these, you might need a friend, you might need multiple other tools, some way of being able to break the bead of the tire. But again, in order to do a patch, you're going to need these tools. You're going to need to be able to take the tire off of the wheel. That's probably why these are such a common favorite among people, because they don't have the ability to actually take the tire off of the rim. Now with our tools list done, time to take the tire off. So now that the wheel and tire is off of the vehicle, what you're going to do is fill it up with air. So with our tire inflated, now we get the hose. What we're going to do is run it over our tire so that we can figure out if we have leaks in the sidewall. We're going to look for little bubbles to see if they're coming out between the tire and the rim. That means you got a problem with the bead, and more than likely your tire is going to have to be replaced. Now just for the record, if you do have a hole in your sidewall, you're going to want to get a new tire eventually, or even if you can afford it, right off the bat. Because you don't have a steel belt inside your sidewall, you only have it in the tread. So a hole here means you're not going to have a blowout. If you have a hole in your sidewall, you will probably have a blowout at some point, so you're going to want to get that tire fixed if that's the case. So once you locate where your hole is, make sure that you mark it either with, whiteout or a paint pen or a nail or a piece of wood or something so that you can make some kind of mark on your tire so that you know where that's at. And again, if your air is coming out between the tire and the rim, you're going to need to get that tire replaced. That's not really something that you can patch or plug. So in the event that you don't have any air bubbles coming out of the bead, don't have a little hole in the sidewall or in the tread anywhere, your culprit might be your valve stem. It might have gotten worn out over the years and you're going to have to put in a new one. For that, we're going to have to take off the tire. Now fortunately for me, my hole is this big fat friggin' nail right here in the tread. So I don't lose where the hole is, I'm going to use my paint marker. Okay, so step 1 of tire removal. We're going to take our valve stem remover tool. We're going to use this end, stick it in here. This tool only costs maybe $2. Lefty, Loosey, Righty, Tighty. I'm going counterclockwise. What this is going to do is allow the air to freely come in and out of the tire, so that nothing is creating back pressure or whatever and trying to fight us while we're trying to take the tire off. Don't lose the core. Now it's time to break the bead. That's where this specialty tool comes in handy. If not, you're going to need probably crowbars, hammers, a couple of friends. In some cases, I've seen people use a trail jack and stick it on there and then put a vehicle underneath it or something and use the vehicle's weight to push down on the bead. So this is where our soapy water is going to help. Just like WD-40. Nice. Now we flip it over and do the other side. The reason we're using soapy water is because you don't want to use WD-40 because that's an oil-based lubricant and you're not going to be able to get it off. Soapy water will evaporate. Looks like we're good. So now, using my curved spoon, what you got to do is try to get a hold of that bead down there and try to get it up and over the wheel. This is where muscles are going to come into play, or maybe even a couple of friends. Now again, these are aluminum wheels, so aluminum is soft. Got to be careful unless you want to ruin them. You don't want to get too much of a bite on it. You want to go just a little bit down the tire and then grab and pull it up and over. It's just like changing the tire on a bicycle, you just on a much bigger, harder to do scale. I'm coming over the front of the tire, or the front of the wheel. Soapy water helps. Okay. Same process, just from the other side. Come on, baby. Almost looks like it's going. Yeah. So in the event that it's a bad valve stem, what we're going to do is come to the inside of our wheel, grab that sucker with some pliers, or in my case, channel locks. Just grab it and pull it out. Putting the new one in is pretty straightforward. They do make a specialty tool for it, that allows you to, just like this little threaded cap here, it actually threads onto this end and allows you to pull up with more force. Now at first glance you might be thinking that you don't have the proper tool in order to put this in through the wheel and pull it into place. Well, it just so happens that your valve stem remover tool, after you get it into that hole, you come in from the outside of the wheel, thread this on there, grab it, and pull it into place. And a little bit of squirt squirt won't hurt. So if the valve stem was the issue, now that you got it installed, put your tire back on and you're good to go. However, if it's not the issue and you still have a hole in your tire, we'll continue going with that and show you how to patch it. So we've got our mark, turn the tire over, and I'm looking and I'm feeling. I don't see anything, I don't feel anything. But from our test, we know that that's where the air is coming out. So we're going to make sure that we precisely figure out where this is in the underside. Once we do that, we're going to move over to our little cheese grater. So we got our mark, we got our cheese grater with the rough end facing outward. Put our hand behind it, and then we're going to figure out right where that's at, and we're going to just start scraping on the rubber. The trick is to try and rough up the rubber so that your patch and your cement, your glue, your whatever adhesive that you use will stick to the tire. Now I'm going to rough it up going in one direction right now. Then I'm going to start going in the other direction. This process will take a couple of minutes, so expect to spend a little bit of time on it. I'm using the glove for heat protection. This is a metal, I think it's tin, a metal grater here. I'm being forceful with it, pushing down hard so that I get deep grooves, giving the glue a better chance to stick. So now, using either a rag or in this case a napkin, you want to try to get those little shavings out of the inside of the tire. You can probably achieve the same thing if you had a shop vac, which I do not have. So after roughing up the inside of the tire, then I look over and I see another damn nail. So I'm going to have to do the same process on this side of the tire. So you might be wondering, well, why do I have to cheese grate it? Well, primarily because the inside of this damn thing is greasy. It's too smooth. You try to put some glue on there, it's just going to slide right off. It's not going to stick to it. That's why we're roughing it up. And don't forget to clean up the shavings. Now again, this is not a permanent fix. This is just a temporary one. I mean, hell, you got a hole in the tire, you know? You're gonna have to get a new one eventually. Now again, I'm going with goop. You can do whatever the hell you want. You can use rubber cement, you can use super glue, whatever you think is gonna work best. I swear by this stuff, so I'm gonna use this. Put some on my hand. Okay, make sure you put this right over the center of where your hole is. Press down firm, get out all the air bubbles. So now that that's on there, I'm going to run around the outside of it with more glue, just to be on the safe side. So after you've allowed it ample time to cure, you don't want to try to put it back on the wheel while it's curing, because it'll probably warp and, you know, break the seal of the glue that you've used. So give it ample time to dry, Then put it on, fill it up with air. Should be good to go after that. And you don't have to use a monster-sized patch that's like 3 inches across. You can use just a smaller one. I just did that one, you know, just in case. So now that the tire's patched, we're going to take our soapy water again, spray around the bead. We're going to take that, we're going to lay it over the wheel. Doing the exact same thing that we did when we took it off. We're going to use our tire irons, our tire spoon, all that. Go under the rim and start forcing it back on. So, try to seat it on there as much as we can first. Then we get a hold of it. This is where the curved spoon is going to come in handy, so that we can hook the rim and it won't slip out. Come on. Okay. Put our pressure on the tire. Again, with smaller tires, this is a lot easier. You want to keep an eye on this side over here so it doesn't start to back off of the rim. Come on. Come on, baby. Too big of a bite. Okay. Push down with our knee. Push this one down. Work it around a little bit. Okay. Again with the curved end, the curved tip, so that you can hook the rim. Now, preferably you want to use the flat one to hold it in place, so that you can use the curved one. Go, yeah. Now we have to try to seat the bead. Now there's several ways to do that. Some people spray, you know, like WD-40 or something flammable, gasoline or something in there, and then they light it, and the expansion of the air, the explosion, pushes the wheel out and pushes the tire out and seats the bead. I really don't want to try to go to that extreme, so I'm just going to see if I can force the tire to expand out just enough to create that rubber seal, and then I'm going to use the air pressure. Don't forget that when you got your wheel and tire put back together, your valve stem core, you got a threaded side with this little spring-loaded needle. Don't forget that these two things go on the outside of the stem. Looks like it's going. Yeah, come on, baby. Come on. Oh, yeah. Get the other side. Other side looks good. Right? Nice. All the way around. So, now we should be good. Check it, make sure it's still holding air, and then put it back on the car. Sidewall says maximum pressure 44 psi. I'm going to set it at 35, let it down off of the jack, because every day for the past 3 days I've filled this thing up with air, came out here in the morning, and the tire was flat. So I'm going to check it in the morning and make sure that my patches are holding up. Alright, it's 5:30 in the morning, the street lights are still on, sun's coming up. Looks like it held air to me. We'll get the pressure gauge on it. Yep, holding right at 35. So anyway, I hope this video has been educational for you guys, and I hope it helps. Now you can get both of these tools on. So in the event that it's just a bad valve stem, we're going to take, in my case, we're going to take some vice grips, get a hold of that sucker, and we're not going to do shit with it. So in the event that it's a bad valve stem, we're going to have to come to the inside of the wheel, grab a hold of that little rubber sucker, motherfucker. Just like this. What we're going to do is come to the inside of our wheel, grab that sucker with some pliers, or in my case, channel locks. Just grab it and pull it out. Just like this. So with your tire all back together, don't forget to put your valve stem core back inside the valve stem. You want this little spring-loaded part